Hello again, Struck. Today I'm bringing you a new build, and this one is for Zane, the operative in Borderlands 3. This build is centered around getting as much damage and movement speed as possible, and the movement speed increases our damage, so that's why we're stacking both. It is Speedy Dronezales, cause why not? And yeah, it is a fun build. It definitely deals a lot of damage with the right guns and the right anointments. And even with some nice shields, you can see here 58,000 with just the Nova Burner on shield break damage. Of course, you can try using different shields like the Messy Breakup or the Overflowing Scream of Terror or the Frozen Heart or any other shield that has on shield break effect, because we're using the Infiltrator mod, which means each time we use one of our action skills, it will trigger a shield break, it will break our shields. It definitely is fun, and you can even use it with something like the Rough Rider, but the build definitely can be very powerful with the correct guns. You can definitely stack a ton of damage as long as you keep moving, as long as you keep using your skills. And yeah, it's stacking a lot of Q skills, so it's mostly on the blue side, mostly on the drone tree, but it's also going all the way to boom enhance in the clone tree, so it's purely a drone and clone build. I'm gonna quickly show you some of the skills I've decided to take and why, and then after that I'm gonna show you some of the gear that is suggested, such as good gear bases that I like for the build and good anointments that I think are nice for the build. So hopefully you enjoy it. Stay tuned, and next is the skills. Skills wise, this build can be made in many ways, but the way I've decided to make it, for now, this was actually made before Zane got buffed up, before Zane's drone and clone got buffed up. This is how I used to play it. Maybe now another setup might be more suitable. I actually sometimes do this, and sometimes I do this, depending whether I need more cryo bullets or whether I need more of the shield regeneration. So here I've got 5 points from the class mod, but this is maxed out. So currently this is 10 out of 5 points. Of course, this is only possible if you have a mod like this one. Alternatively, maybe something like this, 3 in the blue rabbit, 2 in the orange rabbit won't be bad. It's not such a loss. So it all depends whether you prefer to have more movement speed based on your action skills, and keep in mind that this goes all the way to 24 when you have both of them up, when it's 3 points. But when you have more points, that's gonna be more speed, and of course that gets turned into damage from this. So this one is maxed out, of course, getting that extra movement speed to get more damage for this one. Then I decided I need some reload speed, so I invested into this one. I also think it's nice to have this extra grenade drop from Sentinel. Lifesteal, I don't think I need to say why we need this, but yeah, I believe it's very important for the build to have some lifesteal. If you think you can handle the build without lifesteal, maybe you can spend the points here or somewhere else. This one, it's an amazing skill, so yeah, I don't think I need to say why I've taken this. Playing dirty, it's quite nice. It's quite nice getting that extra projectiles, extra DPS, it's amazing after each kill. And then we have good misfortune, another good kill skill. This increases our action skill duration, so I'm not sure whether everyone would prefer to play with good misfortune. Some people might prefer to play with less duration of the skills, so they can end quicker and so they can recast them to trigger things like an overburner or a scream of terror or a flowing heart. Anything that might trigger something on shield break, like the messy breakup also can trigger something on shield break. So you have different shields, like one shield here, two, three, four different shields that can trigger something on shield break that are pretty solid. So yeah, if you prefer to have your skills up less and to be able to cast them more often, maybe this is the better option. And Seeing Red, needless to say, this improves all the this not improve this activates all the all the kill skills when you activate your action skill. So when you do the drone, when you do the clone, this immediately gives you all kill skills. 0 points in the green tree because I found it to not really need many of those because I was playing Rough Rider. But maybe you can spend some points here for action skill cooldown rate. So if you decide to go without points into Good Misfortune, maybe you can go for extra cooldown with Adrenaline if you're not using a Rough Rider shield. And since we are Infiltrator build, I think it doesn't go well because our shields will be depleted a lot of the time, and this will not proc most of the time when we are depleting our shields. So I prefer to play it with just drone and clone skill 3 skills. Here this is nice action skill duration per active action skill, again stacking that duration. Then synchronicity I like because it's extra gun damage based on how many active action skills we have, and we have both of them. This is the same principle as this, based on how many action skills you have active at the time. This one, gun damage, HP regen, pretty nice. Whenever we kill an enemy, us and the clone receive that bonus. And this stacks twice now. Amazing buff. This is quite nice as well. Having the clone drop grenades and having at one level there's 38% chance for getting the clone to throw a grenade after a kill. Then of course this one is not a bad skill, so maybe you might wanna invest into it a point if you're using weapons like the Flakker or the Speedboat and Hellwalker. This would be pretty interesting because each shot would be the first shot fired from the gun, and that would mean that each shot would have a chance to fire this. You might experiment, see whether it's worth to sacrifice some points and maybe put at least one here if you're using such weapons. Then, Quick Breather. I don't think I need to say why I've taken this, it's amazing. First, your shield immediately starts recharging and restores health to your clone when you use this. This health is a new thing that's added, before it used to be just the first bonus. This one is nice. I think one level is more than enough to have some decent grenade regeneration. And this one is an amazing skill. It buffs up the clone. Since I've decided to go majorly on the kill skills, I did not pick this one because I invested more points into the blue tree. You might want to experiment and maybe not taking those two skills and then taking something to let you get double barrel maybe, and things like this maybe. But I think the way I play it is fun. It definitely stacks a lot of movement speed and damage, and you can have that Speedy Gonzales jumping and running around the map and killing enemies, fucking them and whatnot. So hope this is clear enough when it comes to why I've taken those skills. Gear wise, there are many weapons that are good, and I'm just gonna tell you some of the good bases, and then I'm gonna mention some of the anointments that are decent. This is pretty solid as a base, and the anointment is not the best one, but it's quite nice if you don't want to be reloading. This is one of the new weapons. And it's not bad. I'm gonna demonstrate some of those later. This is another good base. Cutsman with a good element, with a good anointment will be nice. This anointment is not bad at all. While Sentinel is active, gain 50% of the damage as bonus cryo. So pretty solid. Flakker, one of my favorite bases. Then when it comes to other bases that are nice, I like phasers, I like the Roizen Storms sometimes. This is actually a nice modifier if you have a good terror build, if you have good sources of terror stacks. The Crossroad is another base I like, the Breath of the Dying is another base I like. Ocean Skull, I do like it, but it's not. It's one of my top guns, but that slow wind up doesn't make it as fun on a Zane build where I need to be moving constantly. I like the beach as well. The good Juju kind of was disappointing. Maybe the one I have just has a bad anointment, so maybe I need to experiment more with one that gives me an elemental bonus damage and things like that, because the map I tested had reduced damage of the normal bullets, and I guess that hurt the Juju's DPS. Then the dead grip. The dead grip I'm gonna show you in a moment together with the other new guns what it does. It's not bad, but you have to charge it, and then when you shoot it, it's like the Flakker. It only goes at a certain distance. So it doesn't go exactly where your cursor is. It goes in the direction where your cursor is, but it has a travel distance, and once it reaches the final travel distance, it stops traveling. I'm just gonna quickly use it so you can see what I'm talking about. So you see it didn't even reach the clone, so if I move closer then it's gonna reach it. So that's kind of what the gun is like. So not too fancy, and this drops from Troy. From Troy Calypso. That is who drops the weapon. Then moving on, Fearmonger is not my favorite weapon really, I'm not a big fan. The laser exploders could be good against birds, the bearcat could be good against cluster type enemies. And when it comes to recursions again, slow charge, so you have to stack on charge time, and it's not something particularly strong, but it could be strong maybe. With the right setup for splash damage it could be, but I'm not stacking splash damage on my character, but look at that. Okay, crits, not so bad. Then, what else have I got here? Scourge is always good on bosses. And this is a nice anointment. Consecutive hits increase weapon damage by 1% per hit, misses remove bonuses. And I have this magnificent with that bonus, so just to show you. This one has the same bonus, so let's see. So big magazine of course means better for this gun, because I think reloading resets it, yeah. So see, it starts from 200 and goes all the way to like 6, even to 1000 on the crits though. So not a bad bonus at all for an anointment. And another good gun that's not so bad, but probably not the best for a Zane movement speed build, would be Tix Boom. I think shooting this gun has a chance to restore some of the ammo back, or maybe that was just on my other build when I was testing it. But yeah, it's an okay new gun. This drops from the final boss of the new raid of the Mali 1 takedown. I like the Devil's Foursome every now and then as well. Not that big fan of Conference Co in this game. In Borderlands 2 it was one of my favorite shotguns, maybe the favorite, but I'm not a big fan of that. This while Sentinel is active gains 100% while you're affected by terror is a good modifier, a good anointment as long as you can get that terror stacks. And on action skill end things, I think you should avoid on action skill end, because the way I've set it up, action skills would not end quickly. So you wanna avoid on action skill end modifiers. This is nice. While Digi-Clone is active, regenerate magazine ammo, or while after swapping places with your Digi-Clone, weapon damage is increased by 130% for a short time. This is one of my favorite modifiers for any build that includes the clone. So if you get this on something like the Night Hawkin, then you're set to do a lot of damage. I think that's kind of enough info when it comes to weapons. For shields, I would suggest either trying a Rough Rider if you want that extra damage reduction and HP. If you have a good one, I would strongly suggest while Sentinel is active, movement speed is increased. But there's new ones like this one. Although this one again, I said action skill and not the best one for Zane for a movement speed build. So this one is a good combo. Rough Rider with movement speed while Sentinel active. Another good thing would be this Mendel's multivitamin shield, which you get from the Monk's quest in Athena's. If you get that one with 50% max HP, then extra max HP per second while shields are full. This is a good combo to get that HP going on for you. Definitely worth experimenting and trying to get a good anointment of this one. Or any multivitamin shield with 50% max HP would be nice. I also like transformers every now and then when I want to be able to heal myself with splash shock damage like a Trevenator, Tix Boom, etc. And then something that I strongly suggest trying is the Overflowing Scream of Terror, the Frozen Heart, and the Nova Burner. The Nova Burner did like 58,000 in the footage I was recording, just from me using my action skill to all the enemies around me. Of course, this was a 70% elemental damage map, so keep that in mind. Then there's the messy breakup. When you break your shield, a temporary drone will come to your aid. It will shoot some extra shots all the time, so you can just see it now. See, that's her. She's not shooting at the enemy though. And now we have two drones because we have two action skills. And they will shoot at the enemies. And you have one drone that's constantly with you. So one is permanent, the other are temporary. It's not a bad combo, especially if you decide to go for a different Zane build, like a barrier build where you can give that bonus to your teammates. I'm still to try doing something like that, but that's probably gonna be coming next week, a barrier build. I think this sums it up for the shields. For the mods, as I said, try and get an infiltrator mod. Infiltrator mod with preferably 5 or 4 points into was it Violent Momentum, the name of the skill? Yeah, Violent Momentum. And then, if it's 4 points Violent Momentum, maybe 1 point Supersonic Man, or 3 and 2 like this one will not be bad, because this one is good weapon damage, assault rifle damage, not bad. I'm not sure you need cooldown reduction, but if you get it, it's always nice. But try and, of course, get good stats at the bottom. I kind of sacrificed my bottom stats to get that +5 Violent Momentum bonus. I am currently using Snowdrift Victory Rush, because I like that Snowdrift extra speed. I can try and swide shoot, like swiding, then while you're swiding, looking back and making a shot while swiding. This is good damage. You see, Flakker, pretty solid damage. When I'm not swiding, this is the damage. So you see, a huge difference, I guess. See, 58. That's good damage. See. And then when it comes to grenades, I'd say I like recurring hex with cryo a lot, or recurring hex with shock. If you can get one like that that has good anointment, that's fine. If not, the Stormfront is not bad. When you're dealing against flesh enemies, of course, Firestorm is good. Gasco is nice when you're dealing with enemies that have a lot of armor state. Whatever grenades you think are nice. You can even try and use some healing grenades. But try and get something with good anointments. I don't have any with good anointments on this character, but I do have on my other ones. And believe me, it is worth it, especially some of those new mods that give you 30% extra weapon grenade and skill damage after throwing a grenade. You're not gonna throw it yourself. The drone and clone will be throwing the grenades, but it's definitely worth it. So for the mod, you can also try and go for a elemental projector Victory Rush, or Elemental Projector Auto Idle, or Icebreaker Victory Rush, or Icebreaker Auto Idle, depending how much you rely on cryo. I will be uploading later, maybe next week, an Elemental Projector Deathless build for Zane, or just a Deathless build for Zane that uses only shield and 1 HP. The only problem with such a build is you need a Trevenator or a Tix Boom to heal. But let's not talk about that build and show you some more gameplay. When it comes to playing the build, it is pretty simple. Keep using your action skills, make sure they're on at all times. If it's between rounds, or if you want to save a Nova when you're using a Nova burner, or an overflowing scream of terror or a frozen heart, then maybe you can try and save one of the skills if it just ended cooldown to try and use it where the enemies are, to either freeze them or to shit tons of damage with an overburner, or freeze them again with a scream of terror. You can see me at certain times waiting for a few seconds before activating an action skill, only because I know I don't need to activate it right now because there aren't many enemies. And here you see me switching to alternate setup, switching shields as well. So onwards everything would be with the shield I just equipped. And various times I checked different weapons, how they would fare, just to see if it's worth using. So you would see me doing that, you would see me using the Tankman shield. But mostly I was very happy with how the Flakker and the Knight Hawkin that I showed in the gear section were performing. They weren't anything particularly special when it comes to anointments, but they were still nice bases, and you would see decent damage from those. I also tried to use this Infinity pistol, not Infinity, but the Magnificent, the one that gives us extra damage when each hit hits until we miss. So pretty fun build to play indeed. You can see at certain times I'm very fast, and the damage based off of that is nice, but the main thing is you gotta keep moving. If you're playing this build, you need to keep moving. While you're standing still, you're not benefiting from those bonuses. Swiding with the Snowdrift, if you can do those swide shots, is great. You can see now I'm freezing this enemy and then boom, one shot with the Flakker. Definitely nice. And the Frozen Heart definitely is a fun shield. It drops from Aurelia, and it can actually heal you for 30% of the damage you do. It doesn't do that much damage, but since your HP might be kind of low, it will heal for a decent amount of HP regardless of that. And since you're breaking your shield when using the action skill cooldown, it's a great source of making sure you don't get insta-gipped after breaking it. So yeah, definitely fun times can be had with this build. Probably it's not your meta setup for all types of content, but for group content such as this, if you're farming a Luda, because the boss here, the final boss, drops a Luda, this is a nice choice. You can probably even do it solo, but I would not suggest solo against the birds unless you have a nice way of dealing with the birds. So here is the sniper. Here is me using this new Tankman Shield Sniper that drops from Captain Throne in Athenas. So if you want this gun, Captain Throne in Athenas drops it. I did try using the shotgun that drops from the bottom boss, but I did not like it, so I did not include any footage of me using it. I probably should have, but I think it's for the better that way. And I think you're kind of seeing why I'm using mostly the Night Hawking and the Flakker when it comes to weapons I'm using. And here is the final boss fight in a moment. He's already spawned, you can see it. And then I'm moving on to this side and I immediately spot him. And then I'm gonna try and do the Novas. One Nova, then I'm gonna wait for my shield to start regaining. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do another Nova, see? And then it's that. So thanks everyone for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to get the notifications. If you've liked it, you can also hit the like button, and if you didn't, hit the dislike button, and feel free to let me know in the comment section regarding anything you like or dislike. Thanks everyone. Keep it cool, folks. There will be more videos coming for different classes this week and next week when it comes to Borderlands. Until next time, and see you around. Goodbye.